Kids, how about a 24-hour brisket? We're going to cook it on the pellet cooker really low, 210, 215. Then we're going to wrap it at about 225 to 250, put it in the oven then. When we get to 200, now, it's not that I think it's done at 200. At 200, I back the oven down to 150. If your oven will hold 150, it's great, and let it go until it's 24 hours. Watch the video. Okay, kids, I'm in the smoker lab. Look at all these R&D, some knives, and look what we're going to do. We're going to trim this big Australian brisket. Okay, let's trim them up, trim her up, trim something up. You come here, and this is pretty thin here. So come down, try and match the grain here. Okay, now we're going to inject. Real simple. 16 ounces of water. You know you like it. Big Papa's cattle prod. This is pretty simple. 1/4 cup. See, I lost about a half an ounce being sloppy. Stir it up good. Now, this injection's got rendered beef fat, rendered beef stock, salt, pepper, garlic, and a little phosphates. And the phosphates aren't bad for you. You can't taste them, but they're a tenderizer. So here we go. So what's going to happen, we're going to inject this, then we're going to season it with Big Papa's Comp Steak and Brisket Rub, which is 72% salt, pepper, and garlic, and then a bunch of other tricky ingredients, like I said before, a rendered beef stock and a rendered beef fat in there, because we're putting some fat back in. Now we're going to start with the grain. I think the real key to injecting is smooth, okay? You want to be smooth. So that means gentle on the pressure and feel it with this hand. So I'm going to put the needle kind of an angle. Okay, now I want to come in, and as I'm squeezing, I'm pulling the needle out. But I'm also getting an idea how much is getting in that meat. I'm going to try and put all 16 ounces in this. Turn her over against the grain on the backside. Don't ask me why. I just seem to like how that works. Again, I'm feeling it. Now, we're going to season it up, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator for a few hours. We're beautiful. Now, this is a tricky one, and this is a philosophical one, but on brisket, I don't over-season, but I season all sides. Some people don't. But I want to make sure the smoke gets through. I don't want to put so much rub there that I block the smoke. So I still want to see the grain. Now that's pretty. Okay, here we go. Comp steak and brisket. It's your friend. Now, there's going really close. Well, you put a very concentrated and heavy dose. And then there's a little bit higher. It's a little messier, but you're able to get a better, even coat, almost like you're spraying with a spray gun. Rubbing it in. Now you'll see big sea salt in the comp steak brisket, same thing with the sweet money and same thing with the double secret. It doesn't mean it's higher sodium. All salt isn't created equal. And this is really a wonderful sea salt. And what happens is all these different ingredients you see are smaller. So what happens, salt is dominant on anything you do. Okay, cayenne pepper is really dominant, but salt's dominant. So the salt's going to grab the real estate first. So what happens here, and follow me on this, it sounds crazy, but actually the science backs me up, is that as it sits here and rests, the other ingredients get their stake on the real estate. They stake their claim, they homestead. Meanwhile, the salt's sitting on top, and as the salt reacts with the moisture in the meat, it melts on top of it and creates what's a salt cap or dry brine. So once you've patted it down a couple times, then maybe just one more light dusting, especially if you see a spot that's lighter than others. But this is it. We're not seasoning it again. This is going to go in the refrigerator for a few hours and then on the cooker. Going to cook all night in the mac. Then we're going to put it in butcher paper. We're going to put it back on the pellet grill. But we're going to bump it up to about 250, 260. When it feels right, and this is really an interesting part, is that when I watch the different pellet cooking thing and the different videos, they get you so temperature centric, which it's not temperature, it's feel. And so it's learning that feel. It's taking a probe, and it shouldn't feel like it's through absolutely melted butter, but there should be just a little bit of resistance. If you try and put that probe in towards the end, and it's tough, it's not done. I don't care what the temperature says. Now, I will put a wired thermometer in it. Because that gets you to the right town. It doesn't get you to the address. So I know when I should start checking with the thermopin at about 198 at those temperatures. Now understand, the higher the temperature you cook at, the higher the internal temperature when it's done. The lower the temperature you cook, the lower the internal temperature is when it renders. Lower means longer on the heat. That sort of translates into less time. So there we go. We're going to cover this. We're going to put it in the refrigerator, and we'll see when we put it on the Mac pellet grill. Top of the morning. Now, have it up on the shelf here on the Mac, because I want it to get the air to go around it. We have it on smoke setting on the Mac 2-star. We're going to cook it in a smoke setting for about an hour, and then about 5 hours at 220. So I'll see you then. Okay, it's been a little over an hour on smoke. Look at that smoke bath. And they say pellet cookers don't put out smoke. The Mac sure does. Let's see if there's a brisket in there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bump it up to 215. Okay, it's been on for about 2 hours. 1 hour of smoke. This is 215. We're going to spritz it with water. Now, little pro tip. Don't spritz it with ice cold water. Spritz it with warm water. That's looking beautiful. Really beautiful. 6.5 hours. Now let me talk about this. This is the color I want. That's more important than the temperature. But I'd like to see around 165, so let's see. 164. Okay, so we're gonna foil next. Look at that smoke coming out of the Mac. Pellet cookers don't smoke. Okay. Okay. Time to wrap. We're gonna take this butcher paper, sprinkle it with water, just to kind of start the process of rendering it, but also making it a little easier to wrap. So we get the water there. Into the oven. Actually, I'm going to do it at 250. Put this right in here like this. Keep the oven nice. So 250 and probably about 2 or 3 hours, and then we'll lower it to just warm. Okay, it's been in the oven for 2 hours, so now it's time to put a probe in it just so I know what we're doing. We're on this side. Have it set for 202. Says it's only 165. And what I'm going to do, because I got a little, there, 275. We'll let it roll there. Shouldn't be too long. Okay, 12 and a half hours. Look at that. Ooh, it's smoking in there. Now I talked about feel, so we know what the temperature is. Feels beautiful. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just bring it down to 150 degrees and maybe rest it for several hours. We cooked it on the Mac. Ooh, look at all this tallow. Ooh. Okay, it's coming out. Well, we kind of like this. No squeezing, no squeezing. Really good. I'm a happy man. It's worth the time. Take your time. It's worth it. Get a great brisket. This is so tender. Awesome.